Hey everyone, hey wellness crew. Welcome to my new channel. This is going to be a little bit more personal, more about my Reiki journey and my experience with it, um, more about my experiences just in my day to day life, something that I want separate from my brand, Cult of Wellness. And yeah, this is my first video that I'm making for this channel, so I'm really excited. Um, I obviously wouldn't really be able to talk about my Reiki experience without talking about Lisa Moore, who I consider to be my mentor and someone who has really just absolutely changed my life for a completely better direction. Back in early February, February 16th to be exact, I was in the ER for very severe abdominal pain. And they did a CAT scan and they couldn't find anything wrong. They gave me literature on it being a form of a cyst. Um, Later on, the following week, when I got an appointment with my primary care doctor, he said, "Well, no, actually, I have the chart, and in the chart they ruled that out. So they just gave you that literature. It doesn't mean that that's what they were diagnosing you with." But they had prescribed me with a antibiotic, and it seemed to help with the pain. And so I thought, oh, okay, well that's what it was. That's the cure, whatever. Um, I, I don't know. It just seemed kind of like cut and dry, and I was in an interesting place relationship wise. I had just broken up with my boyfriend, my long term boyfriend, and I was dating somebody new, and yeah, everything was just happening really fast. A lot of things were changing. And this pain just really wouldn't stop. Whenever I would get off the antibiotic, it would come back. And so that led me to see an OBGYN. And in the midst of all this, I discovered Lisa, um, because I had had an experience when I was 18 years old, being in a eating disorder treatment facility. And one of the techs there was a practitioner of Reiki. And I was having really bad stomach pain. And I'm a skeptic by nature. I'm an optimist, but I'm a skeptic by nature. So when she said, I think I can help you, I kind of, and I was raised incredibly conservatively. So, anything that seems mystical, magical back then, I was taught to be incredibly discerning about it, which I think is sometimes a code word for judgmental, you know. Um, I just was willing to try anything to not have or experience this pain anymore. So I remember laying down, and I don't have a very super clear memory of it, but I remember at one point she was doing this like pulling motion. And I remember literally feeling like something was being pulled out of me, and my pain was gone. For whatever reason, that wasn't a more visceral memory. It didn't attach to me very hard. I think also, too, because an eating disorder is kind of a very selfish disease. And at that time, I was a very selfish person, if I'm being 100% honest. Um, so as much as I appreciated the relief and I appreciated, the help, it's kind of like, okay, I'm better now. Thanks. And just moving on to the next thing. But for whatever reason, having this pain and now being a much more evolved 37-year-old woman and being a wellness coach and, transforming my life a lot the last several years, that memory for whatever reason flooded back to me. And I just remember I still have the book that woman gave to me. It was a poetry book. And I still have it in my stuff somewhere. I forgot her name. You know, but I always hold on to things that are sentimental to me and that mean a lot to me. And she did mean a lot to me, and she did make a very big impression on me. I was just in a very selfish place. Um, so I thought Reiki, this Japanese art of energy healing. Why not learn more about this? Why not, you know, take a course? Why not, I don't know, why not just find something? And it just seems very cosmic to have discovered Lisa in the way that I did. And I'm so glad that I started taking her courses. I'm not done yet, but I started taking her courses. I was able and given the opportunity to beta test the more essentials. Um, I've taken a class or a course of hers on being an empath. I think it's called A Guide to Being an Empath, if I'm not mistaken. I should have memorized all this, but my brain and my ADHD-ness is kind of like, woo. And when I get excited and passionate about something, I just want to share it. And I've talked about this on my channel. Um, I've talked about this on Instagram. I've talked about this on X. I've talked about this and on TikTok, on every single platform that I've talked about this on Substack, on every single platform that I can think of. I've talked about Lisa, not because I'm a fangirl, not because of whatever, but because with her, I've actually seen and experienced real results in real time. Real things in my life have changed, real concepts that she has bestowed upon like all of us, really. She has a YouTube channel, Lisa Moore TV. That's LISAMOHR TV. You just search that. You can find her very easily on YouTube. It's available. There's information out there that's available to everybody. And you can learn so much. You know, I've learned so much from her. She has a community that you can join. You know, she makes herself incredibly accessible for somebody that has the gifts that she has. And the one thing that I love about content is that it's forever. And there's things that I'm learning about Reiki that I think once I'm in a more, once I'm further down the road, because that's what this channel is going to be about. It's going to be kind of about my journey. And, once I get a little bit further down the road, I'll be able to speak a little bit more clearly to this and, be able to communicate all of my feelings and my experiences a little bit better. But just being new to everything and just the eagerness to learn and the eagerness to participate and the eagerness to be with a community of people that are like-minded but also incredibly different. um, Having the opportunity to recognize people for their gifts, that's one thing I love about being in that group. And that's one thing that I try to do whenever I can, as much as I can, whenever my intuition leads me to, or whenever somebody just says or does something that I'm like, I love that. It's a source of inspiration. It's a source of um, fellowship. It's a source of uh, just a lot of things. You know, you start to have new friends and make a new community, and um, it's really nice. You know, it's really nice. She does live Q&As the first Friday of every month, or I'm sorry, the last Friday of every month. Pardon me, the last Friday of every month. Let me reiterate that. Um, I mean, she makes herself available if you want to learn, if you want to grow. Her courses are incredible. Her products are great and wide ranging. Her books are really awesome because yeah, you can get a book, but if you want to, you can also get an ebook. And if you want to just print it out and do it that way, which is what I did with my coursework, you can do that, you know? And that's what I have in one of my shorts. I kind of show that I have both, right? So there was a book that I was really interested in that I wanted to purchase, and I did that. But then the ebooks, I was like, oh, there's the ebooks. Okay, fantastic. That's great. So she provides so many different resources. She provides so many different courses, in my opinion, at least, that cover a lot of different things. She has one that she doesn't really talk about this one that much, but one I'm really curious about is about finding your soulmate. And I actually really want to take that course. I'm actually really excited to venture into that and learn more about that. But yeah, the one that's really aligned with me is about learning more about being an empath and understanding that a lot of my experiences that I've had up until this point in my life were seen through an incorrect lens, perhaps, that it's possible that there were certain labels applied to me in my life that weren't accurate at all. I mean, some were for sure, you know, um, but some weren't. And I unfortunately had to suffer the consequences of that being a child and having authority figures tell my family this is, who she is, or this is what she has, or this is, you know, with confidence after spending 15 minutes with me. And I think it was in total like 25 minutes with Lisa. And not only did she seem to know me so much better than any of, these other authority figures that have spoken with me in the past, but afterwards or during our communication process, she was working on me using Reiki. And I didn't know this. And then she's like, oh, yeah, this and that. No, yeah, this and that. Right. And I'm like, wait, what? you know, because it looked like we were just having a conversation. I had no idea. I didn't even know I didn't even have like a certain question or really anything like that going into this conversation. I was just like, I'm just excited to meet you because you've made such a difference, like I'm just excited to meet you. Um, and to just see how there's all these little things in my life that before there's no way that she could have known. Like there's no way. Things I haven't told anybody ever. Or that I've told people, but like, you know, a very selective group of people. Very selective. I'm talking you can count them on one hand. Mm-hmm. Yet she somehow knew intuitively. And she's humble. You know, she has a lot of gifts and stuff like that that she doesn't talk about now, you know. Um, she has boundaries. She doesn't mince words. She's able to, because of her intuition, because of her gifts, and because of her talents, she's able to keep things very honest and out in the open. So there's always clear communication. And that's one thing that I personally, it's not something that I actually struggle with. It's funny, actually, I don't struggle with clear communication. It's just that there's a lot of walking on eggshells in my personal life due to various reasons. Um, so it's nice to have that energy of having somebody around that, you know, doesn't make you or force you to walk on eggshells all the time, or doesn't, that's just encouraging, that can hold space for you, you know. And again, I'm so new. This is all brand new to me. This is all like I said, I have had one experience with Reiki. I've never had the opportunity to explore further what my intuition, um, what my abilities are, you know, things like that. I haven't really had the opportunity to explore those things. And now I have the opportunity to, and I want to do that because I am empathic. I do pick up on things from other people. I do seem to have a knack for perceiving things ahead of time, or knowing things, or getting hints of things, I guess. Um, and it's nice to have that be, I won't say like confirmed, right? But it's nice to have that be acknowledged. It's nice to have that be like, well, hey, guess what? Here's some tools to have you grow in that field. Here's some tools to have you just grow. You know, like, there's opportunities. You know, there's abundance. There's things that you can learn that are going to keep you protected and keep you, you know, safe energetically, you know. And it's so funny because I always coach to three resources being incredibly important: time, energy, and money. But in my hierarchy, it's like a reverse triangle. It's time and energy being up here, and then money being down here. Not because money is not important, but simply because, like a triangle, like a right? But only because, you know, you can always make more money. Um, but time is not something that you can always get back. Or really, I mean, you can't just like create time, right? Well, now at least we can't. I'll put it that way. But energy, though, you know, you only have so much of that, and you know, how can you fill it up? Is that possible? Can you refill your cup? Is that possible? And if not, then how do you protect your energy from situations, from people, from jobs, from whatever it is that's going on in your life that is depleting your energy unnecessarily, when you actually have the power and there are tools out there for you to use that you can, you know, keep your energy, have a barrier, have something to keep you protected. And this is all information that I feel like it would be so nice to have learned before I was 37 years old. You know, that would have been nice. Um, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to just be able to learn this type of information. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to um, be around people that have the same type of mentality that I do, that want to engage, that want to make the world a better place, that want to be healers. You know, I always understood that I wanted to help, and I was in the personal training industry, I was in the fitness industry, I'm in the wellness industry. I see things a little bit differently, right? I'm always about progress, not perfection. And my viewpoints on a lot of things are a little unique, a little bit different, only because I see what works for people and what doesn't work for people. And I'm pretty in tune with not wanting my clients to have to work with me for forever, right? I want my clients to only have to work with me for a finite amount of time and then be able to carry on and do things on their own and move on and not need me. And I know that that's not the greatest business model, but that's not where my mind's at. My mind isn't on a business model. My mind is on helping. And now that I realize that I can actually be a part of something bigger than just helping, but actually be a part of something like healing, that sounds fantastic to me. And I'm already seeing the benefits of self healing, literally feeling healed. There's words I could use that, you know, would be potentially polarizing, so I won't use them. But I'll just say that it does make me feel as though like there is a reason why I was drawn to this whole thing to begin with. And there's a reason why, you know, I have the health issues that I have. And there's a reason why then I was also, you know, put in this experience of having this severe stomach pain. And, you know, even after the CAT scan and even after sonogram, they don't know why I'm experiencing it. And I had an attunement. And since then, I can say that the pain has almost entirely gone away on its own. There's some days that, yeah, it's, you know, there's a little, but it's much different. It's much improved. So that's that's all the evidence I need for me personally. Um, so if you want to learn more about Lisa and, you know, her products and her courses and her services and things like that, you can go to www.lisamohr, that's lisamohr.com. If you want, you can also do / Jenna in all caps for 10% off of one product or service or course. And or you can use Jenna in the code as well. Put in the code Jenna at checkout. Um, but it's not so much about that. It's just that just even if you are just like, well, you know, I'm not so sure, or I don't really. Okay, just go to the YouTube channel. See for yourself. See for yourself. I don't put my stamp on things. That's the one thing that I love about myself, is that I'm really authentic about things, and I don't speak on things unless I actually really believe in them. And I've always been that way. If I don't use it myself, if I don't believe in it myself, if I'm not all about it myself, no, I don't. No. And this is something bigger than that. This is an opportunity to actually change and transform and be able to not only potentially heal yourself, you know, in a way that can be complementary to whatever you're already doing. Um, but it's also a way that you could potentially, as well, help to do that for others. And there's something really beautiful about that to me. So, yay, my first video on my new channel. So excited about that. If you want to know a little bit more about me and kind of see where I've been at with YouTube, you can definitely go to, you can search Jenna L. Tripp, and that will take you to Cult of Wellness, which is my original YouTube channel. And yeah, you can kind of see all that. But this is something that's going to be more aligned with like my personal journey and my personal stuff that I'm, going through as well. Although definitely I don't shut up about it on my Cult of Wellness channel either. But I just was like, yeah, let me make a separate channel too. When you have good news, when you have something that you want to share, when you have something that's important to you, you definitely want to talk about it, and you definitely want to share it, and it's definitely important. And you're going to share it because it matters. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like or subscribe, and be well, stay wild as well. Thank you.